Guys, how's it going? This is Broadcasting Because a very happy Friday to all of you, and this comes as a bit of a surprise today. I didn't think I'd be doing anything on this lovely Friday afternoon as it's bucketing down outside my window. I didn't think I'd be doing anything. I thought I'd just be sitting back and watching the Ashes, but instead I'm going to be looking through some of the brand new, hot off the press AFL Live 2 screenshots that have just been released by trueachievements.com. Link is in the description below to a small article that they wrote alongside these. Excuse me if I'm not a little bit more upbeat. It's been a very long and tiring week, and it's right at the end. But I will do my absolute best to have a look at some of these screenshots for you and draw every little bit of excitement and anything else that we can find out of these screenshots, because this is very different to what I'd expected, and yeah, let's get into it. So here we go, the first look, the first glimpse into how AFL Live 2 is going to look and how it's going to play, and that involves this screenshot here of GWS and St Kilda going at the ball. I can't quite make out who that is, but whoever it is, he's taking a big hanger over the St Kilda play. Now there's a couple of things that stand out straight away when looking at this image. First of all, it's the textures and the colours of the game itself. In the last game there were a lot of really bright and exuberant colours like the grass and the kits, and it just clashed a little bit. The colours were very in your face. It looks like for this one they've toned that down quite a bit, so they've given them rougher textures, less clean and less really smooth, I suppose, and that'll give it an extra dynamic for actually looking at the game. It was confirmed during the week that Big Ant Studios actually aren't associated with the AFL Live title anymore. Now it's being developed and made solely by True Blue. So that's why things like the scoreboard and the radar look very similar to the ones that did in the AFL Wii game from 2 seasons ago, because that one was also done solely by True Blue. Talking strictly on graphics, I think the MCG looks pretty nice if you ask me. There's some really nice textures with shadows and the crowds going on in the background. I like how the light of the MCG is really lit up. The sky looks well detailed, and if you can play with things like camera angles in the game, you can explore it and look at how that looks as well. Hopefully there'll be something like an instant replay feature. I'm sure there'll be more about that coming out later. Next up we have this image here of Michael Hurley, mainly showing off the jersey design and how the little rimples of the jersey are changing as the player moves. That's a really nice touch if you ask me. It just looks great, and it would add that extra dimension of realistic look to the game. I do have one major problem with this screenshot though. All of the players just seem to be standing still, not moving at all. Like these guys, and these guys, and these guys. Hopefully it's just one of those things about the time they took the screenshot, but it's things like this that just lead to a tackle fest like the last game was. I make this observation because I really hope they've been working to fix the tackle fest that the first game turned out to be, and as good as the first game was, and as much as I enjoyed it, at times you just found yourself breaking your finger over that Y button. So next we move on to this image of Carlton star Chris Judd in what looks to be a massively updated player editor. Now, when I was talking before about them needing to show off their graphics, this is what I'm talking about. That's a pretty decent likeness, and although his head does sort of come to a point, the textures and the graphics and all that look really nice. Also in the last game, it was just a little bit tedious trying to edit stats because it was all over the place, and hopefully that's just been smoothed up a little bit. Also, I think this sort of menu style goes a bit better too. This next image here of Will Minson from the Western Bulldogs is very nice as well. The kicking animation looks great, as does the ball drop, and the more dispersed nature of where the players are standing is very nice as well. It looks less regimented and it looks a little bit more free, and that's what I'm really hoping for from this game. Also, the sky and the stadium and the textures and the players look upgraded. They look like a second generation game, or a second version of a game, or the next sequel, or whatever you want to call it, but I think it looks nice. It looks like everything has been lifted up a level. The umpire looking at the ball is great. I would like to see that Will Minson's head is just tilted a little bit so he's actually looking at the ball he's about to kick, but that's just a very minor point from an otherwise very nice looking screenshot. Next up we have a second screenshot of Michael Hurley about to give off a handball, and it's very interesting how far away that second one is on the back of Zaharakis' shirt. It's almost a tattoo on his shoulder. Hopefully they can get that a little bit closer for the release of the game. I'd like to point out this little thing down here with Tom Bell-Chambers' name on it, saying he's 25 metres away. Is what we're seeing here a camera angle in game? I don't think so, but it looks like it could be part of the on-screen hub. Maybe telling you where the target is, or where a player making a lead might be, or something. That would be a really good addition to the game, because a lot of what you were doing in the last game was just holding the left trigger, or the left bumper, or whatever it is, and just kicking in hope. Maybe this will give you a bit of a better idea where you're kicking to, and I think could be a really nice improvement. I'm not quite sure which stadium that is in the background. It could be maybe Launceston, I'm not quite sure, but I'm sure we'll find out in time. Next up we have this screenshot of what appears to be maybe a new camera angle for when you're taking a kick out or taking a mark behind the goal or something along those lines, but mainly what this screenshot does is it shows off some of the textures. The textures of the goal umpire, of the players, of the post and of the grass look really nice here, and it just looks like everything again has been taken up to the next level. The Collingwood player does look like he's at a bit of an awkward angle when he's taking the kick, but hey, it still looks alright and it doesn't detract at all from the way that this game looks. Now this final image I've kept to last for a reason, because I think that what we're looking at now is a camera angle to be used in game and exactly what we're going to be seeing when we pick this up. In the first game the camera angles were dreadful. I think they were too far out and they didn't either focus on the nice graphics that they had, they didn't capitalize on what they had, and they also weren't in the right spots. They didn't show you what you needed, they didn't show enough of it, and when they did it was too far out, you could hardly make it out. What it looks like they've done is they've made the camera higher and they've made it closer in so that you'll be able to see a little bit more of what's actually going on in the action of the game, as well as from a higher perspective, so you get a better view of the ground, and you can also see a little bit wider, I think, as well. The shadows on the ground look fantastic. The players are all in decent positions as well. In the last game there were guys just running all the way through the mark and standing 2 meters either side of the guide just because they didn't know where else to stand. The Swans are all standing in reasonable positions, and so are the North Melbourne guys. But also here we get the first inkling that they've changed the controls somewhat. On the right hand side of the screen says press B for set shot. Have they just moved it around, or have they changed things completely by adding options or taking them away? Maybe something like a bump has been moved to the X button or something, or a handball's moved to Y. I really don't know. I'm sure that information will come out in good time, but hey, these screenshots hit us from absolutely nowhere, so who knows when the next bit of information is going to come out. So guys, there you go. Those are the screenshots of AFL Live 2. And if you can take anything away from this, it's that the game you buy is going to be very different from the game you bought 2 years ago. Coupling the graphics from these screenshots with the features and the things they talked about when they announced the game, this is very promising. Be sure to mash that like button if you enjoyed this video, guys, and also hit that subscriber button to stay in tuned as this story breaks and as more news about AFL Live 2 comes out. Subscribing to me is like giving me a virtual high five. And everyone loves high fives. This game looks great, guys. It keeps getting better the more and more we hear. Leave your comments in the section below about what you think about these screenshots. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Cheers and stay tuned.